Hello, couplets. Welcome back to another Bear With Me with me, BearElliott. Today is World AIDS Day. Now, a lot of people don't realize what exactly World AIDS Day is. Today is a day for, specifically, a lot of us in the LGBT community. We like to wear red, and focus on HIV prevention and also AIDS awareness. This is a very important day to the LGBT community because our communities, and I wouldn't say specifically, but we have been devastated by the HIV and the AIDS epidemic. Now, the HIV virus and AIDS was not identified until 1984. And since then, it's estimated that there's 34 million people infected with HIV and AIDS in this world globally. That's a lot of people. Now, since its identification back in 1984, 34 million people have passed away from complications from HIV and AIDS. This is a huge epidemic that's facing the entire world. It's not just here in the United States and in Africa. It's everywhere. Every country in the United States, in the world, is in fact has an HIV epidemic. No one is excluded from this horrible disease. And I'm sure this sounds like a real big downer. I don't like to be a downer, but it's a very big day for the AIDS and the HIV community. Since its identification back in 1984, a lot of advances in the medical world have taken place, and that's incredible. With Truvada becoming more mainstream, we're seeing less and less infections for HIV, but it's still a huge problem in the entire world. We just need to take notice of this, and that's what World AIDS Day is all about. Now, I wouldn't say in celebration, in recognition, because we don't really celebrate this. I don't really know a lot of people that celebrate it. But in recognition of World AIDS Day, I wanted to put out 3 films that I think are kind of interesting and show the course of the HIV awareness that has taken place. The first one is Dallas Buyers Club. I always screw up that name. Well, if you haven't seen this film, it's very interesting. At the beginning of the AIDS epidemic, this was considered gay cancer. Well, this movie, The Dallas Buyers Club, it focuses on and how difficult it was for HIV and AIDS patients to actually get treatment. And the medical world was not very quick to kind of get the medication out there to the community. So the Dallas Buyers Club, it's a true story. It's based on a true story. I don't think all of it's factual, but it's based upon a true story. And several of these pop-up clubs where HIV people could go and get their medication. It's a great film, amazing acting. And Matthew McConaughey, he lost a ton of weight for this role, and you can see his progression. And him playing a heterosexual man and rather homophobic man takes a journey in how he changes his view on those that are infected and impacted by HIV. Next up, this one is a really sad movie. I can't really say there's a lot of happy HIV and AIDS related films, but it's definitely shows a period in specifically the LGBT community, a period of time when HIV was considered, and to some, still a death sentence. Well, It's My Party is all about a horrible fad, and I hope this fad has ended, when people that were infected with HIV did not see a good ending, and they really did not have a good ending to their story. So they made the choice of when they were going to leave this world. It's My Party is about a couple that one of the pair gets identified as having AIDS and HIV. His partner does not, and the struggles between the two partners and actually breaking up after the diagnosis. Well, the partner that has HIV has decided that he's going to throw a party. This was definitely something that took place back in the 90s. He's going to throw a party and take his life that evening by a drug overdose. And he gathers all of his friends, all of his family together to have one last celebration. It's My Party is a movie that is incredible. Has an all-star cast: Olivia Newton-John, Margaret Cho. The list goes on and on and on for stars that were very popular in the 90s and still today. But I will warn you, it's a downer. Now, the last movie I want to talk about is a humorous twist on looking at the HIV epidemic. Those two things usually don't go together, but Jeffrey definitely does that. Jeffrey is a single man that has roamed the streets and enjoyed himself with a whole bunch of men. Well, Jeffrey now realizes with the HIV and the AIDS epidemic kicking into high gear that maybe he needs to change his ways. So he decides that he's going to stop having sex. Well, his friends, of course, think he's crazy and he just needs to settle down. Well, Jeffrey ends up meeting the perfect man. Well, poor Jeffrey has to deal with, oh no, this man has HIV. What do I do? And hilaria ensues. I don't think hilaria is a real word. The laughs ensue. Jeffrey's a great movie. It's lighthearted, but it has a social statement that I think everyone needs to see. So those are 3 movies I think that on World AIDS Day, that's a tongue twister. World AIDS Day is something that you can sit down and watch. I will warn you, It's My Party is one of those movies I had to stop watching halfway through it because it's sad. It's very, very sad. Make sure Kleenexes are available. But then followed up with Jeffrey and laugh, because it's hilarious. I'm so glad that with the progression of our medications that today HIV and AIDS is not an end all to our lives. It just means it's a little twist in our lives, and it's not the worst thing. Well, I don't know if that's a really good thing to say, but let's just say it's not the horrible ending. Kind of like this is a horrible ending to this vlog. I really should have written this thing out, but I don't write anything out. I'm very bad at writing things down. So I hope that you guys are having a great day and get out there, show your support for the HIV and the AIDS community and the LGBT community. And just remember, give yourself a big bear hug. And until next time, bye, Coblets!
I could go out in the darkness, see you calling my name. I hear you shouting, hear you calling, but it's not the same. Every word that you are throwing right into my back doesn't matter to me, cause I'm keeping my track. Let me go, let me go.